Years ago, they tried to.
Years ago,
Years
they
ago,
tried
they
to
tried to put
put
me
me
in
in
it.
the this live.
All right. You know what it is. You know who it is. We are back with another episode of the BG Perform podcast. How does this light look? I feel like it's a little.
It's a little like white. You
Yeah.
know that it's cool. Nat gave me hers, and I have like if I press the power button, it'll go like more warm.
Gave you
Actually, that's
hers?
kind of nice. It'll go warmer.
Did you go to the doctor? No, I'm joking.
What? What are you talking about? You go to the doctor?
You said Nat gave me hers. I said, oh, did you go to the doctor?
Gave me hers.
It's just a joke.
Her, I don't get it. You go to the doctor? I missed
Anyway.
it. Apparently, I'm not in the loop. I don't know.
Anyways, welcome back to the BG
Yes.
Perform podcast with my co-host, Coach Jerry Hayes. Jerry Hayes, how was your week?
It's been good, man. We're actually that reminds me, I gotta take those antibiotics over there. We've had a whirlwind since we moved here.
Jesus.
We got a 24-hour bug.
You should go to the doctor.
Yeah, I should go to. I need a doctor now. I got a 24-hour bug. We got a cold. We beat the cold. We got pink eye. We beat pink eye. We got another cold, and now I'm still fighting off like the phlegm in the chest. I feel fine, but like it's just adapting has been rough. But I was actually just talking to one of the teams I was coaching yesterday, and I was like, guys, I'm at the point now. I'm fully adapted. I can coach and run around, and I'm not running out of breath. And they were like, we're proud of you. We're proud of you. So it was like a joke that I was just like, guys, I can't breathe. I need water all the time. I can't sleep. I'm dying. I need you guys to coach me.
Like an infant.
Yeah, right? I'm just sitting here
Helpless
like,
infant.
so, no, things are good. Just got back from the gym. We had a leg day. We've been fixing up the hip. So that's been a journey. Just clients are killing it. I have a couple new clients that started once I moved back, and they're all just thriving. And it's good to see. It makes me feel good, makes me happy. Highlight from this weekend, this past weekend, Nat and I went to Holy Moly in Denver.
What is that?
It is a putt-putt place, and every hole is themed differently. So, like, there was a Jaws one, there was an E.T. one,
That's
there was,
kinda
like,
cool.
a graveyard, like, neon one. There was one that was, like, a cash grab. Like, in Matilda, they go in and they try to catch, like, all the money. You put it into the cash grab. You go in there, you press the button, and all these dollar bills are flying everywhere. They got
I've
Bill
seen that
Nye's face on them, and then you have to, like,
It's
putt
funny enough,
out
when
of
we
it.
went to, I forgot where we were. When I was traveling with Ian, we like did one of those machines, and Ian figured out that I forgot what he did exactly.
Run against the wall and just fucking scoop it down.
It was something like that, but it was like he like put his shirt up over the area or something, and everything
Yeah.
just went into his shirt. And there was another way that like he was talking about when it comes up, you just like have to almost like catch it as I forgot what it was, and he did like he almost like cleared it out.
Really?
It
Damn.
was
They were
kinda
like, we
great.
got to get this guy out of here.
Yeah,
This
so
Irishman can't come back.
that was funny. But
That's great.
But yeah, go ahead and continue.
No, yeah, it was really cool. Like they had like these special drinks. I got one called Shark Bait, and it came in a shark head.
Is it alcohol?
Yeah. It was like a coconut rum thing. It was pretty good.
Okay.
You do that? That's not cool, man.
You do
Dare.
alcohol?
Don't you remember Dare from school? And
Don't. Are you going to the mall today?
Is that Dare?
Yeah.
Don't. Are you going to the mall today? Don't leave yet. And then Nat got one it was called like Rub a Dub Dub, and it was like this like peach drink, and it had like it was served in a mini bathtub, and it had a little mini rubber ducky in there. So it's cool. They had like a lot of fun stuff, really good food, brisket loaded nachos, which
All right.
yeah. So
I remember one time we went to Myrtle Beach. It was me, the Mayos, Sam, and I think Jake was with us too. And we went to this restaurant on the beach, and they gave us. We had gotten like this. It was supposed to be this mixed drink, but it was like a fishbowl. It was called, and they like
Okay.
legitimately served it in like a fishbowl.
yeah.
And I remember we got it, and it was like super small, and we all kind of like finished it within like maybe like 4 sips. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
And Sam was so pissed, and he left like the worst review on the website. That was when he was in his Yelp phase. He would just leave like absurd Yelp reviews on people's restaurants when he hated them,
Yeah.
and it was pretty funny. But
They said it was a fish bowl. You put a fish in there, that's torture.
yeah, literally,
It's
it was like
tiny.
it was like 30% drink, 70% ice. It was a
Yeah,
scam.
that's how they do it, man. It's crazy.
But yeah. So uh, a recap for me. Launched the Coach Connect yesterday, which was
Yep.
great. Had the initial call. Um, podcast has been going great. I want to thank you guys because the numbers have been going up in regards to the listens. I think we're averaging close to like 30 listens per episode,
It's
at
pretty
least
good.
on YouTube, and then on Spotify and Apple, like at least on the thing that I check, it's like kind of I think it mixes all of them together, but we're averaging like 10 listens per episode, which is
Okay.
awesome. So
Yeah.
YouTube's obviously been a little bit more uh, active, but a lot of that's pushed a little bit more on YouTube, and I think
Hmm.
the video does a little bit better maybe than just a listen. I don't know, but
Probably,
we're
yeah.
every single video we've been about 30 to 40 listens, even at the top. So that's amazing.
Let's
I
get
love
it.
it.
Shout out to the
Um,
YouTube gang. What's up?
yeah, shout out to the YouTube gang. We've been very consistent. I want to see those numbers keep going up. Keep listening to us.
Hell yeah.
And what else? We had another episode of Behind the Design yesterday as well. I dove into peaking a high level athlete, or an MMA athlete specifically. Um, Next week, I'm actually going to dive back into that and go over a couple of programming pieces as well, just so you guys, if you're interested and you want to tune in, we can go through that as well. But today, we're going to be diving into the evolution of fitness. And no, we're not going to go all the way back to the beginning of time, although that is something I'm working on.
Yeah.
We are going to dive in like the last 20 years, basically since like Jerry and I started working out,
Hmm.
and how much fitness has changed, and kind of I guess we can call it like the eras of fitness that we've kind
Yeah.
of both been through. I've been through, I think maybe more than you have, because I've been someone who's tried a lot,
Yeah.
and I've you know I look at it as like a positive
Hmm.
because I have so much experience in so many domains of fitness that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And I really have like CrossFit to thank for that, because CrossFit has so many, you know, different modalities inside of the programming. But basically, kind of like going back to when we started, and I think this is kind of the same, because I do think, at least maybe not nowadays, but when I was in high school and like going into that phase, there was almost like a path you followed, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody always starts out with bodybuilding, and I think that was always the case, especially since like fitness was a real, consistent thing in people's lives.
Hmm.
You either start, unless you started out with like Pilates or aerobics like way back in the day, but for the most part, everybody was starting out with some sort of bodybuilding where you're doing some sort of like isolated movement, be it a bench press, a squat, a bicep curl, something like that. You're doing it for like 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, and then you kind of progress that as much as you can, and then you either what really tended to happen was you either stayed in that bodybuilding route or you kind of like branched out, and there
Yeah.
was like a branch out route that kind of happened, and it was like, all right, everybody was kind of starting at bodybuilding down here, and then we all kind of like started to branch, and then there was the people who did bodybuilding that just kind of like stuck with bodybuilding. There was the bodybuilders who went to like powerlifting, and then there was the bodybuilding powerlifters who ended up like kind of transitioning, which was more of my path into what we call like functional fitness, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But we're going to just dive into kind of the literally just have a conversation about it, because I think it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy when you go back and think about the transition of fitness and what we, amongst other things in the world right now, but there's such a transitionary phase, or things that have happened that have gotten us to where we are in fitness today.
Hmm.
And I think it all comes down to like bodybuilding, obviously. And I think when we look back at the history of fitness, like bodybuilding is the one thing that really, bodybuilding and art, I would say, right? And that's why I got this tattoo, which I've explained before. But like art kind of started, like these full body portraits started to, and sculptures started to really kind of like take the human body into account and like what it looked like, right? And kind of
Hmm.
gave everybody that idea of like, I want the body of like a Greek god, or like a Greek statue. And then what essentially happened was there was people who were starting to build bodies like Greek gods. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was Arnold and Lou Ferrigno. There was who else was from that era? There was
Frankie, got the bullshit. Get down from
yep,
there.
yeah. Who were the other
Frank, was
big
it Franco Colombo? Is that what his
Franco
name?
Colombo? I got the Pumping
Yeah,
Iron book right here, which is like such a cool book.
yeah,
Actually, let me grab it so you can see it.
yeah. I love that there's just like, there's so many people who have just been like staples and like just these like rocks in the fitness industry, and it started a lot with these guys.
So this was the original book that was written about pumping iron, which was like the movie that was made about the sport of bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, I'm sure a lot of you, if you're a fitness person, you've seen it. But this book was actually just about the movie. It has pictures and basically a breakdown of like all these different bodybuilders and everything that was going on during that time. And it was just insane the type of stuff that these guys would do and really the eyes that they brought to fitness, right? And I think even this guy right here, he's considered the bodybuilding like godfather, Eugene
Yeah, yeah.
Sandow. But so if you ever read about him, he's more of a scam artist than anything. But he was the. It's true, but
Yeah.
he, yeah, I think bodybuilding is obviously what started a lot of this stuff and really gave people the runway to go do other things, and that's why I do think bodybuilding is kind of it's the thing that's withstood the test of time and is always there to help and always be a part of fitness as a whole. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it usually starts out every person's fitness journey. It usually is the foundation of literally every single fitness journey. And I think it's led to a lot of different aspects where bodybuilding kind of leads us into that point of like, hey, I've built my body. And then we've kind of gotten to that phase now where it's more like, what can I actually like physically achieve with my body? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think bodybuilding competitions, while they're difficult physically and mentally, that's an aesthetic thing. And it's not so much a performance based thing. Right. And I think where we've kind of gotten to now, or let me rephrase, because this has always been a thing, but like what's gotten more into the limelight of fitness is performance, right? So we had this very huge aesthetic focus, whereas
Yeah.
now we're a very huge performance focus, whereas like aesthetics are still a thing, right? But the aesthetic of a fit individual has changed today from what we would think of it as fit back in the day, right? When we think of
Mm-hmm.
fit in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we're thinking about Arnold, we're thinking about Lou Ferrigno, we're thinking about all the guys that were these huge bodybuilders that were kind of like leading the way in regards to health and fitness. And nowadays, when we think of it, we think of you know, uh, like who would I guess like obviously there's bodybuilders today, but when we think of like peak fitness guys that are kind of like in the limelight right now, uh, we look at like Nick Bear, we think of
Yeah, it's a lot of like hybrid guys right now too.
yeah, like dudes who are built right,
Mm-hmm.
but they could go run a marathon and
Yeah.
bench 225 and deadlift
I always think of Matt
315.
Fraser.
Matt Frazier, Rich
Yeah.
Froning, like these
Yep.
guys, and like I was gonna try to leave them out because they're like a sport athlete, like
Yeah.
they're CrossFit athletes, but like I think there are some general people that are like fitness influencers nowadays that are kind of like in the limelight, but their physiques are completely different. They look like bodybuilders, but they can perform like athletes. And I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
really important thing. Not to say that like bodybuilders back in the day couldn't, because I know Arnold was a very athletic person when he was back in the day. I know a lot of these guys were very explosive athletes. Um, but the biggest difference obviously is that some like it wasn't there wasn't really structure around training for that sort of thing. It was just kind of like you bodybuild, you lift weight fast, and there was very innovative people at the time. Charlie Francis was one. He was a sprint coach. Charles Poliquin was another.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of coaches back in the day that were very innovative in regards to like, real explosive sort of like performance training, but still at the limelight was like bodybuilding, right?
Yeah.
And I think as we started to transition, we kind of brought that bodybuilding into what was more of like this athletic phase as sports became bigger and bigger. Because even if you think back, right, like you know, sports, I think like baseball obviously was like the biggest sport at the time. Those guys weren't in the best shape. You know what I mean? Like they were just people who played the game
Mm-hmm.
They were in decent shape, but they weren't in like the best shape. And I think that it was a sport that didn't really demand that of like people, and it still doesn't today. Like there's still people who aren't in the best shape that play the game of baseball because it's not that type of sport. But bodybuilding kind of led us down this path of like, cool, I built my body. Now, like I said, I want to see what I can do. Right.
Dude, I'd even argue that like guys like Sylvester Stallone and
Yes. Yeah.
dude, who was why am I forgetting his name? Ivan Drago. Oh
I
my
don't know
god,
his
I'm having a
actual name.
brain fart. Dolph Lundgren. Like them, like Rocky 4, that's literally the reason I got into the fitness industry. Like as a kid, I started doing push-ups and sit-ups. I was like, I want to look like Rocky. I want to look like Ivan Drago. Like that was like the biggest thing for me. So I think you look at Sylvester Stallone and Rambo or oh my god, he just passed. Rest in peace. What's his name? Chubbs
Oh
and
yeah, I
Apollo
don't remember his
Creed.
name. Yeah, Apollo Creed. Yeah, I don't know his name though.
Oh my god. I feel terrible, dude. He's one of my favorite
What's his
fucking
name?
people on the planet. Please find it. I feel terrible that I can't remember, but like him and Predator with
Carl
uh
Weathers.
Carl Weathers. Rest in peace, dude.
He was
Oh my
jacked.
god. He
Yeah.
was, dude. He was that guy that like he had that build in Rocky immediately. Like from the beginning he was just jacked. And then like so between him, Sylvester Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, all these action stars, Mr. T, like all these
Mr. T.
people who
Yeah.
were just in movies became action figures. And then like for us too, even our cartoons like Dragon Ball Z,
hmm
um, we had like Avatar growing up, that type of stuff. Like even cartoon characters that were just
SpongeBob.
shredded. SpongeBob, yeah, SpongeBob,
In that one
Anchor Arms,
episode. Yeah, Anchor
yeah,
Arms.
Anchor Arms. So we had like so many things in the media that sparked this love for fitness for so many different people. I remember like when I was uh, at Gates at the high school back in New York, I one of the kids came in and I was like, I've never seen you before. What's your name? And he told me, and I was like, all right, well, what's your goal? He was like, well, have you ever seen Demon Slayer? And I was like, no. And he showed me a picture of this one dude, Inosuke or whatever his name is, and it's this dude who wears like a hog head and he's just and the reason he puts it on is because he wants to look intimidating because when he takes off his mask he has like a very like beautiful face like he looks like a
Mhm.
woman and but his body's just shredded and jacked beyond belief so it's just a funny thing he puts on the hog head he was like I want to look like this guy and I was like see like that this is his Rocky so there's just like
Yeah.
a bunch of different things but like starting with those guys those are all those like 80s action stars dude they started a big love for fitness for a lot of
Yeah, and
people.
I think that movie era was like huge. And I think that
Yeah.
movie era kind of like ignited a lot of passion for training, and then obviously Arnold was huge at that time. Like Arnold
Yeah,
had
dude.
blown up the bodybuilding scene and literally made it like a spectacle where people were,
Hmm.
traveling across the world to see him stand there and flex. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he really changed the game in regards to like his training, the way it was done, the posing, all that stuff. And I think that all catapulted the scene of fitness into the limelight, right? Not just bodybuilding, but like fitness. And then I think, like you said, those types of movies created people who were like, I want to look like that, or I want to be like that, or I want to perform
Hmm.
like that. And it created like that spark of hope, right? And I think even, when I started working out, like truly, it was probably in like 2012, 2011. I lost 70 pounds in 2013, but like before
Hmm.
that, I started training a little bit with my friends in high school. And I remember we were just, we've talked about this a bunch of times, but it was like Muscle Farm workouts or bodybuilding.com workouts. And it's like
Hmm.
that was fitness at the time. It was like you hop on a program, you lift as much as you can, you do it as much as you can, and you just see what happens, right? There's no structure. It was just try to get as big as possible, lift the most amount of weight possible. You do it with the worst form because your body can handle it at that point, and you
Hmm.
go from there. And I think for me, it was always like you know, I was never really like set on one thing. Obviously, I did a lot of like, I guess we'll call it pseudo powerlifting because like it wasn't
Hmm.
really like powerlifting at the time. It
You
was
just did a
like,
1 RM every day.
it was just like half power bodybuilding and half powerlifting. And then we would just try to get as strong as possible. And then eventually I just like wanted to lose weight. So I was like, I should probably like change things up. And eventually I started to like obviously change my training a little bit.
Hmm.
But I just think there was so much to be given from like bodybuilding and trying to like look a certain way. And during our time, obviously, we had an even different era because we had YouTube that had just come out, and like again, we may have talked about this in the past, but this was when like Ulysses and Simeon Panda, um, there was Mike Rashid, there
I was watching
was
a
Steve
lot of Steve
Cook,
Cook, Swolger
um,
Nation days, like
yeah,
way back in the day.
there was who else was big back then?
Jim Stepani.
Oh, Jim Stepani, he was huge back
Carbs,
then.
fats actually.
Yeah,
Carbs
he was the
actually.
fucking go. He was my go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Dude, yeah, shortcut to size, shortcut
Jim
to shred. So
Stepani, there was I feel like there's one more big one I'm missing.
oh, 8 hour arm workout.
Rich Piana.
Rich Piana, Rich
Baby
Piana.
blood workout. Rich
Yeah,
Piana.
dude.
Um, yeah, so like these guys were like crazy enough. They were like the influencers of fitness before influencing was like a
Was a
thing.
thing, yeah.
Yeah. And Simeon Panda, I remember I used to like do one of his workout guides, and there was like Ulysses. They used
Oh,
to have
dude,
their,
6-pack shortcuts. Do you remember that, dude?
I don't know, what was his name?
Oh my god. I don't remember. It was just jacked Asian dude, like 6-pack beyond belief. But he had like these really big traps and delts. So I was like, all right, well, this is what I want to look like.
Yeah, you just,
He was just
and it
eating
was-
spoonfuls of fucking coconut oil. He's like, this
oh,
stuff is the
remember what's his
greatest.
face? What the hell is that black dude? Not Kai Green.
Oh, CT Fletcher.
No, well, CT Fletcher too. CT
Oh,
Fletcher
okay.
was like a massive one on YouTube. It was the other dude. He went to jail for a bit.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know if I know.
What the hell is his name?
I might not know.
The hell is his name? What the hell is his name?
Bro, I'm having like a flashback of so many faces and I'm just losing the names of all the people I used to watch
I
back
see
in the
him
day.
on TikTok sometimes. He
Shit.
sounds like this when he talks.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh my
I
god, it's
have
gonna
no
piss me
idea.
off. Oh,
Obviously,
hold on,
Ronnie
let's see.
Coleman. He's
Yeah,
a
I
great
mean,
one.
well, I mean, and if you ever want to get like influenced or just like want to have a sick lift, you just turn on.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, buddy. And you just go and you go into the.
Lightweight.
Oh my god, it's just
Woo.
amazing. I don't know what this dude's name is. I'm gonna have to find it. Um, damn, that's
Oh,
gonna piss me off.
dude, I might know. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see.
Sorry for kind of like stopping this in its tracks, but that's gonna make me mad.
No,
if I
we're
don't
gonna
know.
we're gonna find it. We're gonna find it. What was his name?
He used to have
You
like
keep looking.
dreads.
DeFranco? Is it no?
No, it wasn't DeFranco. DeFranco's
No,
a white guy.
different guy. Different guy. Yeah, I don't remember. As you're finding that, I'm just gonna say, it's funny how we like. There was a point in time, like right now, we are helping a lot of people who are who are in the position that we were in when we first started. Because like Brandon started in, like I think he said like 2011 or whatever. I remember I got my first like home gym and dumbbells when I was 15, so 2009, 2010. And I remember like it was my way of just I was a very angsty and angry kid, and it was my way of just like getting all the rage out. Like I remember there was one time, dude, I got my first nuke on Modern Warfare 2, but the internet crashed as soon as I went to go hit the nuke button, so it didn't count. And I remember I went downstairs and I must have hit like 25 reps on chest press at the heaviest weight that I could.
Kali Muscle.
Kali Muscle. Yeah,
Kali
dude.
Muscle.
Is that that's the one with the mask?
No, I don't think he had. Or no, maybe he had a mask.
Oh, no, that's Kai
Kai
Green.
Green.
Kai
That's Kai
Green.
Green. Yeah.
Kali Muscle. I remember that name.
He used to
But
do
yeah.
like the park workouts, and he would eat like 10 pounds of ramen noodles.
Yup. I
And
remember
say
that
it was
guy.
like an anabolic mix.
That's that prison diet, dude. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That makes
Um,
sense. Peanut butter
yeah.
and ramen noodles are the go-to. That's got to be it.
I love ramen noodles. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
But I remember there was like I think summer of sophomore year going into freshman year. That's when I started to take fitness really seriously. I was working out 5 days a week in the basement. And I started to like see progress. I started to eat a lot more, and like believe it or not, I was one of those kids I couldn't drink water. It made me want to throw up. Every time I took a sip of water, I was like, what the hell is this, dude? I remember that year, going into junior year, that summer when I was working out, I was like, dude, I'm so thirsty. We don't have any Crystal Light packets. Fuck it. I grabbed a Poland Springs water. I cracked it open. I chugged it and I was like, oh, I get it. I understand now. Like it tasted good because I needed it. So
Yeah.
then I drank like 3 of them in like 4 minutes. Like I'm so thirsty.
Jeez.
So like working out really like set me up for a lot of success as far as growth, not only physically, but like to get outside of my comfort zone. Like it was really cool, and I owe it to the Rocky movies, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think from there, I think this kind of, like I said, it happened to everybody. It's just, or maybe it was just me. I don't know. But like, I kind of got to a point in that stuff where I did it enough. And I'll be completely honest. When I made the transition from like strictly bodybuilding into like powerlifting and then into like functional fitness, I'll call it,
Mm-hmm.
it was just one of those things that I didn't even like plan on doing it. Like, I remember when we made the switch over to do CrossFit, because basically I did a lot of bodybuilding, like, you could call it bodybuilding, but I wasn't really like following a program. Then I lost a bunch of weight and then I wanted to get stronger and just kind of like put on size. So I started to do like, because then at the time I remember Bradley Martin had just come out on YouTube talking about like power bodybuilding,
That's
where he would
yeah.
basically do like the 405 for 15 reps and
It
just be
was
like, yeah, this is
him.
what you do.
It was him and Mike O'Hearn. Power bodybuilding was huge. He got
Yeah.
me into that when I was like 19, 20 years old.
I took a picture
Which
of Mike
following
O'Hearn.
his program, I destroyed my rotator cuff. Like, I was just like, all right, Mike O'Hearn's jacked. He's natty. He says he is. So let me just do what he does. Fucking torn rotator cuff at 20 years
He's
old.
fucking huge, bro. I met him in Florida when
Yeah,
I went to this karate combat with Ian and Layla.
yeah.
Dude's fucking massive. Like,
He's huge.
and he looks like a fucking Greek god in person. He's
Yeah,
just huge. He's got plastic surgery, but like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Baby,
But
don't hurt me.
yeah, I know. That's so funny. Um, so where were we with that? Yeah, so
Power bodybuilding.
so that was like a huge thing where essentially you were just doing powerlifting with a little bit of
Hmm.
bodybuilding. It's just the same thing, except these guys were, doing crazy amounts of weight, and it was just so much like prime YouTube fitness YouTube back in the day was just like it was
It
it
was
was
a
just like
dangerous place to be if you were
I would
natty.
say it's better than it was now, honestly. Like
Yeah,
I would
there
say
was
it's
a lot of
way
like
better than it was
solid
now.
info, but
Like
holy,
it
they
was
were pushing weight.
I just think like that was such a good time. Like it was like
Yeah.
great. But anyways, so then from that time, that's really around that time is when the whole CrossFit thing sparked. There was obviously Greg Glassman had came out with CrossFit in like 20, I want to say 2007 was the first CrossFit Games.
Really? That old?
I
I didn't know
think.
that.
When was the
I gotta say, I was resistant to CrossFit at first because I went bodybuilding first into
Yeah,
power
2007.
bodybuilding, and then I went powerlifting. Then I dipped into CrossFit and more functional training after that. But I didn't start as early. You definitely started CrossFit earlier than I did.
Oh, I mean, I went to CrossFit in
2016?
2014 or
2014.
15.
Okay.
I think it was 2015. I lost a bunch of weight. I went to school. Then I graduated from Hudson Valley. When I graduated from Hudson Valley, that's when I started going to CrossFit because I started working out again with Nick and at Best Fitness, which terrible gym, but Best Fitness in Albany. And then the dude that owned Black Sheep was like harassing Nick at Vitamin Shop, being like, "You got to come in, you got to come in, you got to come in, you got to come in."
Oh, I got you.
Nick was
Okay.
like, "Screw it, we'll go." And I went with him, and I was like, "Oh, well, they have deadlift platforms. That would be cool. Maybe I can get a
Yeah.
platform and just see." And I remember the first night we went, we did snatches with a PVC pipe for like 45 minutes.
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I'll stay. I was like,
Okay. Sounds
I would
great,
never do
actually.
it again. Never
Yeah,
again in
yeah.
my life would I do that same like introductory class and be like, yeah, I'm gonna stay. I don't even know why I did.
Yeah.
Obviously, fate had
It's
it to be that
something
way.
new. Yeah.
So I stuck with it. I really got into CrossFit. I never really competed, but like I really enjoyed the idea of like learning a bunch of skills, and
Hmm.
really that's what kind of like helped me know that I was going to become a coach because I learned all these different skills. I was learning ring muscle ups, pull ups, kipping pull ups, snatching, cleaning, burpees, metcons. I was strength training. I was squatting, benching, deadlifting. what else? Like wall balls, handstand walking, things like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like such a good introduction into like fitness outside of what I knew at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it opened me up to like obviously teaching that stuff, coaching it, learning it, that sort of thing. But it allowed me to kind of like use my body, and it made me feel like I was, performing. And I think that was something where with fitness and or with bodybuilding and powerlifting, I wasn't really getting that from it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that was on me because, powerlifting you can lift, but it just wasn't my thing to want to lift super heavy all the time and try to pull 700 pounds, 500 pounds. Like I think the most I ever deadlifted was like 475.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the most I ever squatted was like 405.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't something that like really interested me. And I really started to kind of find an interest in CrossFit. And I started seeing the athletes in CrossFit, whether it was Rich Froning at the time. There was Ben Smith was someone I really enjoyed watching. There was, who were the big ones? Frazier wasn't huge then.
Yeah.
Um, no, James Fitzgerald was another one. He obviously started. He won the first the first CrossFit Games, and he created CrossFit or OPEX. And then, damn, who are the big CrossFit Games guys in 2000? Let me see. CrossFit
Yeah, that
Games.
early I'm not familiar
Hey,
with.
Jamie, can you pull that up?
Jamie, who are the biggest? Gotta get a little breathy when you say it. Jamie, do me a favor, pull that up. See.
Scott Panchik, Jason Khalifa. This was when the Katrin David's daughter was there.
She was in for a while, dude.
I guess Matt Frazier was there. The Sigmund's daughter, Sarah Sigmund's daughter.
Yep.
I used to be in love with her. She was the blonde hair, like the
Yeah.
Swedish blonde hair.
The tall one.
Yeah.
She had like the icy blonde hair, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Who else we got here? Josh Bridges, he was like the army guy. Jacob Hepner, Travis Mayer. Yeah, so that that year, I guess Matt Frazier was big then. Yeah, so he when did he finish? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this was whatever, but he was like all these guys were like really got me, you know, interested in CrossFit and being like, wow, these guys can do this. Like, I wonder if I could do that or if I could come close to doing that and
Yeah.
being that sort of individual athlete. And it inspired me. And it really gave me like an outlook. And like I said, it gave me the opportunity to kind of do things that I never would have done on my own because I would have never tried to go out and learn cleaning and snatching and all this stuff. And I think what CrossFit did was it took this, this portion of fitness, which was bodybuilding and powerlifting, and then it made you do it in a performance fashion, and then
Mm-hmm.
kind of drag that out into what became today. Because what happened with CrossFit was, and I really think this is a detriment of growth, right? And it's just what
Yeah.
happens when you try to grow something as a
Yeah.
as a business model. Like CrossFit itself is still amazing, and I still use it. I even like program it for myself like consistently and like currently. But I think CrossFit as a gym is really dependent on the coaches because it's at its core it's like mixed modal fitness. It's random. It's being able to do whatever whenever really is like to
Mm-hmm.
put it in layman's terms. And I think with CrossFit, it got to a point where there was so many hands in the bucket. They were trying to grow and make it a sport. There was all these different gyms, and it was just becoming stale because some of the coaches, there's a lot of injuries. There was a lot of people trying to like push the boundaries on CrossFit, and they were trying to get creative, because you're adjusting, right, and you're trying to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing things, and there's so many different aspects to it. You're basically trying to make up workouts every single day that's like different. But then there started to be some structure to it, and there was a lot of great coaches inside of CrossFit and programming as well. But I think, you know, I would say like the detriment of CrossFit is that it was just like a lot, and there was
Yeah.
just so much going on, and you really had to kind of know what was going on to do it. And if you weren't immersed in it, it was really hard to program for. And you're trying to get all these different elements involved. Whereas like that kind of transitioned and had its time into what is today would be like the High Rocks era, right? Because it kind of went bodybuilding, power building, power lifting, CrossFit, and now we're kind of in this like runner slash functional fitness era, which is kind of like it's almost like Star Wars, right? It's like the remnants of CrossFit. We're just left
Yeah.
over, and High Rocks is like the new Jedi, right? Or it's
Somebody
like,
somebody picked up a CrossFit book and said, "I could fuck this up,"
yeah,
and they created High
literally,
Rocks.
literally, right? And they created High Rocks, and then
Yeah,
High Rocks is just obviously like a single race, and maybe I will give my thoughts on CrossFit or High Rocks because like High Rocks is cool. I understand why people do it. It's like a competition, it's a race, it's the same thing, right? And they're in such a tight spot because like if they change anything, they're CrossFit. Like they
yeah,
they
yeah.
have to be that race, right?
They are very
Um,
niche.
yeah, and it's cool, but I think that like it's kind of gotten to the point where fitness has now evolved into like a specific race that it's
Hmm.
like okay, we have to complete this. And I think a lot of running has come back because it's very simple. I think High Rocks is blown up because it's simple, right? It's like just do the same thing. You try to finish as fast as you can, and you can train for that all year. But I think CrossFit was the one thing that kind of exploded fitness and onto a bigger scene, even more than like bodybuilding, because CrossFit was inclusive. To a certain extent, everybody could do it, and everyone could compete, and everyone could, get better and learn the skills. And I think that the evolution of fitness comes from, like I said, starting out with someone like Arnold, right? Who's like this big, brawlic dude who's just like, you stare at him like a statue, right?
Yeah,
And in today's world, we're getting individuals who are the Matt Frasers of the world, the Rich Fronings, the Nick Bears, who are someone who could move that sort of weight, have that sort of physique, and run and move like someone 30, 40, 50 pounds less than them, which is
yeah,
insane, you know?
yeah.
And I think we're pushing our bodies to a new limit. And I think that every inch of fitness moving forward is just obviously what did we do and what can we do moving forward. I'm interested to
Hmm.
see obviously what happens with fitness. And because I think that in my mind bodybuilding is always going to be a part of it, right? And I
Hmm.
think powerlifting is always going to be a part of it. And I think where we're starting to get to is people realizing like we still need to do all of these things, right?
Yeah,
And lifting and bodybuilding, they're still integral parts. And like for most people, they're just where you stay, right? Some people just don't get out of bodybuilding, and that's totally cool. And there's no need to. And some people just kind of progress into powerlifting and still do bodybuilding to kind of, support that with accessory work. And you don't really need to do anything else, to be completely
hmm,
honest. But there is like another level of fitness where you really start to test yourself and be able to move and have different skills. I've met some of the fittest people in the world that I've trained with as well inside of like CrossFit gyms who could snatch 300 pounds and do 50 pull-ups and then walk on their hands and run a 7-minute mile, 6-minute mile. It's just nuts. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I think the evolution of fitness has shown us that like aesthetics were such an important piece, and it's kind of switched to like back to performance as being a very important piece with aesthetics as well. I
Hmm.
just think it's a different focus on aesthetics. It's not this big bulky build. It's it's moving. It's being lean. It's still having some definition to you, but being able to kind of complete all types of fitness whenever, wherever.
Yeah, I think bodybuilding even had like a respark in recent years when we're looking back to, I'd say like 2021 through probably even now. Like you got your like C-Bum became
Yeah.
like a staple, just like Arnold. Like he's one of those
Honestly,
guys
CBUM
where,
got me back into enjoying bodybuilding, and I didn't
yeah, dude,
like it was
him
just wasn't
and
something I wasn't ever interested in.
yeah, him and Sam Sulik, like all these people
What happened to
found
him? I never see
them.
his stuff anymore.
I see him pop up every once in a while. He's just
Yeah,
I feel like he just keeps the same formula, so it looks like the same stuff, and it probably just gets lost in the algorithm.
maybe.
But for him, like he's competing still, but like C-Bum is now in his like post Olympia days, but he's still in the fitness space, showing that
Mhm.
like even if you're not competing, you could still have a really good physique and maintain that.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that like you said, we have these people who stay in their lane with like if I'm bodybuilding, I'm bodybuilding. If I'm powerlifting, I'm powerlifting. But we do see the benefit from all of it, and a lot of really good programs will have pieces from every aspect. Like your powerlifting might be in the beginning of it, your bodybuilding in the middle, and then some CrossFit like Metcon at the end if you're doing like conditioning or extra like uh, extra volume work, whatever it is. I think it's really cool that we saw these we saw the fitness industry in a sense of like a triple tug of war,
Yeah.
more than triple in the most part. But I think bodybuilding, powerlifting, and CrossFit for a majority of the time was pulling people in one direction, and now they're kind of sharing the same space and like embracing each other in a way that I honestly wouldn't have predicted even 5, 10 years ago. It's been really cool to see everything develop and have top of the people in the industry be like, oh, you can do both, or you can do all three, or you can do all of these, and they do have their place. So
Yeah, and
it's
I think
cool.
like bodybuilding, and I think this is something I've spoken on, and I think there again, even Marcus Philly, like Marcus Philly was a huge individual who kind of mixed the three, right? Like
Yeah,
Marcus Philly
Marcus
was a
Philly's goat.
CrossFit Games athlete who stepped out of CrossFit and into kind of like functional bodybuilding is what he called it, and created like a CrossFitty type of lifting programming, which taught me a lot, and
Yeah,
kind of like was my next step after what I was going to get to was like the next step of my fitness journey, which was like cool. I went through the bodybuilding phase, I went through the powerlifting phase, I went through the CrossFit phase, I went through this next phase of like I still love doing CrossFit workouts, right? Every once in a
yeah,
while, I like snatching, I like cleaning. It's something I've been doing again recently, and I missed it, and it feels good. But I also love benching. I love doing bodybuilding type movements. I like doing isolated movements. I also like doing conditioning pieces. I like doing
hmm
like, aerobic pieces. And then also I started to get back into running because I think running is something that like at its core I've never been the biggest fan of, and I think it's also because I was like bad at it and heavy, but I also think that like running is something that we're like built to do. And in my mind, I think it's really important to like learn running because I think it's so accessible because no matter what at the end of the day in regards to fitness, like you should be able to move and stay fit if you don't have the barbells and the racks and the dumbbells and
hmm
the kettlebells. Like they're very useful, obviously, and they're what makes fitness as deep as it can be today. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, like we should be able to stay fit without any of that stuff. And our bodies were literally made to just walk and run and breathe. And I think being good at running, exploring running, even if you don't, if it doesn't have to be like marathons and half marathons and things like that. But I just think having experience in running is just such a fundamental thing for yourself as a coach and just in general because it's healthy.
yeah,
I know running in general a lot is not always the healthiest, but I think it's healthy to have experience and to then help people, coach people, that sort of thing. But I think that's kind of like my evolution of fitness, where it was like, again, just a recap, bodybuilding. I would say just like playing around. It wasn't even anything. I was in high school just doing
just
whatever the
pushing weight,
machine was.
pulling
Yeah.
weight. Yeah,
So like, that mix of bodybuilding and whatever, then it was like powerlifting and to power bodybuilding, then into CrossFit, then into, this functional bodybuilding aspect, and then, into a more balanced functional bodybuilding with like some running. And I think that's kind of like where the world has gone or taken it. I still think there's a lot of people out there who do certain types of training and realistically whatever I know there's lots of like Instagram type training out there, and whatever floats your boat as long as you're moving to me is cool.
hmm
I just think like I found in regards to like proper training where you're going to get real results, it's this mix of bodybuilding, powerlifting, we'll say mixed modal fitness, I'll call it,
hmm
instead of like CrossFit.
yeah, yeah,
And then some type of like aerobic stuff, whether it be running, biking, whatever it might be, swimming, a mix of those, and you're going to be a really good athlete. And then you just train with purpose and you follow the right program, and things are going to progress properly. And I think that's like that would be my idea of like where the evolution of fitness has gone.
yeah. I think that's pretty much spot on for me. And I think if anything, there's a lot of information out there where people say like one way is the only way, but just to keep in mind the what we just went over proves that there have been just absolute stud athletes, aesthetics, performers, whatever it might be, who just have their own specific way of doing it. And it's worked for all of them. They've all done
Yeah.
different things. Some of them do everything. And I think that's where we kind of need to get to again is stop the bickering and arguing online for the most part. I think some things are worth arguing over, but stopping the nonsense bickering and just agreeing that there are a million ways to become fit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think like this, I think fitness will continue to evolve, and I think something else will come out. I don't know what it's gonna
Hmm.
be. I know what it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be those magnet vest things that make your muscles contract. You ever wear like those
Dude, I have
muscle
no
pad
idea
workouts?
what that is, but that sounds terrible.
You know, like the stim.
Yeah.
You ever seen that? Like I've seen
Yeah.
some people.
Like a
I don't know.
recovery stem, like where it
Yeah, but
makes
they
you
like
like
make it something you wear when you do training.
I have seen that. I
Yeah,
have seen that. That's not it.
yeah.
That's not it.
I
Don't do
tried
that.
that one time because this guy came to Florida and he was like, "Oh, I want to sell you this," and I was like, "What?" And Phil at the time was like, "I'm not doing it." I was like, "God damn
I'm not
it!"
getting electrocuted for fun.
So I had to like do this for. He was like, "You can do basically like you can get an hour workout in 5 minutes because of like
Yeah,
the
here we go.
contraction thing."
Mr.
I
Shortcuts.
was literally holding like a dumbbell in both hands, like doing the workout like this. So my body was like this as I was going through. I like
Oh
couldn't
my
extend
god.
my arms, and I was like coming back, and it was just the worst experience. I was drenched. I was absolutely drenched. But I was just like, I don't think this is it. Like I'm just,
Now, you know what we should do? Let's create Chinese water torture and have people just lift as they're doing it.
yeah, yeah, just
Just
waterboard
have
him.
something drop on them, or yeah, we'll
Yeah,
waterboard them, put the whole sheet over their face. This is a whole hour in 1 minute because you're stressed out enough that your body gets a central nervous system response. You're gonna
exactly.
grow.
Perfect. The next evolution of fitness.
Yeah, torture.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there was anything from this conversation wise. I think it was just a fun conversation to have about
Yeah,
like our experience in the
I
evolution of
could
fitness
keep
and where we've
talking
seen
about
it.
it for
Yeah, 100%. I
forever.
think that
Yeah,
like I don't know if there's like a takeaway from this besides just like
I think the
I think
takeaway is literally do what makes you happy in fitness, and you can become fit. You don't have to follow someone else's path. Just
yeah,
do your thing, as
yeah,
long as
'cause I
it's
think it
progressive
changes,
and you have a plan.
And I think like people are always going to come by and assume something else is better, and
Yep.
people are going to have their own way to train, and you just do what feels best for you. I think I do. I will say this. Maybe this is the takeaway. Like all of facets of fitness should be in your program. There should be some sort of like isolated
Hmm.
movement. There should be some bigger compound movements. Should be some sort of aerobic, conditioning style pieces. And there should be, things that test your skills and
Hmm.
make you learn new skills and move your body in ways you haven't heard or seen before or felt. So, but I
Agreed.
think that's it for me. I think the evolution of fitness is going to continue to happen, and just be ready for it.
Yeah.
Anything for you?
Sit back and enjoy as you watch all of the people start to argue over how their thing is better, and then you remember this conversation, and you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna pass, and we're gonna look back and be like, yeah, it was a good a good mode of fitness, but
Yeah,
works the same as everything else.
exactly. Well, as always, I appreciate you guys. Episode will be out on Tuesday. If you're
Hmm.
listening to this, it is probably Tuesday. And we will have what's anything big coming up? It's February. I don't think so. I don't know if there's anything big coming up. As always, if you guys want to work with us, definitely looking to take on some more online clients, you can reach out at www.bgperform.com/training. And you can either request myself or Gerald Hayes to be your coach, whichever you feel more comfortable working with. Or if you want to work in person, I am currently working out of ABC in Albany, and Jerry is working out of Kula Sports Performance in Colorado. And I think that's it. We'll have a new behind the design next week as well. If you haven't seen, if you're a coach who listens to this and you are possibly interested in joining the Coach Connect, let me know. I can send you the call we had the other day so you can kind of learn all the information and how to join. And I think that's it. So I appreciate you guys as always. Jerry, anything on your end or no?
Nothing, nothing. You covered
Cool.
everything.
I appreciate you guys as always. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Deuces.